Thank you all for taking the time to be here. And what we're going to do this morning is to go over some basic information that'll help you in scoring WBC fights. So with that, we want to introduce you to what the scorecards are going to look like when you receive them. Now, mainly the scorecards are usually given to the supervisor. The supervisor has them. And if you have a real good supervisor, he'll write your name on every card. You will see 3 scorecards, one for each judge. When you receive your scorecards, you'll want to first fill in the date. You notice in the right-hand corner, the supervisor's name is there. Your supervisor hopefully will have the cards in his name. And then you'll want to put the fighter's name, and then you'll want to put your name, and then you'll want to sign them. So now that you have the scorecards, let's talk about the 10-point must system. What is the 10-point must system? Think about that for a moment. The 10-point must system, you must have a 10 in one of these spots. You must have a 10 in one of these spots right here. Again, you must give a 10 to the winning fighter. If it's an even round, you'll have 2 10s. So if the fighter on the left part of the scorecard won, you would have a 10. And the losing fighter would have 9 or less. Let's talk about fouls or point deductions. And that's when the referee is going to call time, bring the fighters to the center, fighter to the center, and take a point. How do you mark this on your scorecard? Don't confuse this with knockdowns. We are only talking about fouls or point deductions. If you'll look here, this portion of the scorecard is for the 10-9 or whatever's less, this portion. Down here, these 2 boxes are for deductions by the referees. They're for fouls. So if the referee calls time and takes a point from a fighter, you immediately put -1 on the offending fighter's side. Now, once you do that, once you put the 1 there, forget about it. Just forget about it. Continue scoring the fight. If the fight continues and the referee takes another point, let me back up 1 point. At the end of the round, you would put the winning fighter's 10 there, and you would put the losing fighter's 9. That's how a scorecard would look if the losing fighter had a point deduction. Now, if the referee took 2 points, your card would look like this. But let me show you how the card would really look in reality. You would see, what you would do is you would draw a line through the -1, put a -2, and then initial it. Now, once again, forget about the point deductions because your supervisor is going to take care of that on the master scorecard. When the supervisor gets your scorecard between rounds, he then enters them on the master score sheet. And in the red area, you'll see where there's point deductions, and the supervisor will enter the deductions here. And therefore, you don't have to worry about it. He will do the mathematics. Again, don't confuse this with a knockdown. These are fouls that we're talking about. So let's move to another area, which is the scoring zone. What is the scoring zone? The scoring zone is an imaginary line from the top of the head, splitting the ears down to the top of the hip or the navel. So again, it's from the top of the head, splitting the ears down to the hip or the navel. The referee will declare that. It's every punch that lands forward, this portion of the body. What do you do about punches? Where's the mouse? I lost it. There it is. That might land just behind the ear, or half the knuckle lands on the ear and half lands behind the ear. What do you do about a punch like that? Let me tell you, this is not rocket science. Don't be so technical because you're saying only one knuckle was in the scoring zone. Let me tell you, if he gets hit along the side of the head, score it a scoring punch. If he gets hit along the side of the head, it's a scoring punch. What about punches to the arms? This area here, what about punches to the arms? Usually the arms are considered for defense. However, the upper portions of the arms are scoring areas. However, you must use judgment. Be fair to both fighters. Let me ask you a question. Can a fighter win a round with defense alone? Ask him the question. I want to hear their answer.
Some of them knocked their head. They said no.
No. Very good. Very good. In order to win the round, what must a fighter do? He must land more scoring punches. He must show effective aggression. He must show ring gentlemanship, which we interpret as control. If a fighter blocks all of his opponent's punches and never hits his opponent, can he win the round? He cannot. Let's talk about scoring punches. In the amateurs, they have done a good job in putting the white on the gloves. And when a fighter is struck with the white portion of the glove, they call it a clean punch. On the professional judging, we look at what we call the effect of the punch. And what I mean by effect of the punch is if a fighter is cut and there's blood, that is not what I'm saying is the effect. The effect of the punch would be determined by how his opponent would respond to it. And it's your judgment to determine the effect of the punches. So let's go to another area which we call effective aggression. Effective aggression is misunderstood. Many people feel that effective aggression is the fighter moving forward. It does not matter if a fighter is moving forward or backwards on effective aggression. It does not matter the direction he's going. And let me explain that. A fighter could be moving backwards and his opponent is throwing many punches at him. And the fighter that's moving backwards is able to throw a counter punch quickly. And therefore he's aggressive, that every time his opponent throws a punch, he's aggressively throwing another one. So please do not confuse the direction of the fighter's moving as effective aggression. It matters not. An effective aggression fighter is one that's ready to fight. He wants to quickly counter everything the other guy's doing. Now, if he's moving forward and landing punches and controlling things, that's effective. Let's talk about ring generalship. What is ring generalship? Is the fighter is controlling the ring. He's controlling where his opponent goes. He's controlling him in a position to be able to strike him. He's able to move and have his opponent miss punches. He's controlling everything in the ring with his skills. Therefore, rather than refer to it as ring generalship, we refer to it as control. Championship fights. What advantage does a champion have in a fight? In a title fight, what advantage does a champion have? Give the champion the close rounds? No.
Uh,
No advantage at all? Does the champion have any advantage in the round, in the fight? No. Well, he does have an advantage. And the advantage is, should the fight end in a draw, he's still the champion. During the round, he has no advantage.
แต่
When
ว่า
the
ใน
fight's over, he has an advantage. Now I want to talk about the anatomy of a 10-9 round.
นะครับ
We're doing very well, by the way. But
Thank you.
what is a 10-9 round? Would you ask one of them to explain what a 10-9 round is?
So it's basically a round where one fighter win over another, like normally. There's no fouls, there's no knockdown, and the fight is not like the opponent who lost the round didn't show that he lose like by far. So that's the 10-9 round.
Very good. Very good. But most officials can tell us what a 10-9 round is. However, only world-class officials can tell us how much a fighter won by. With this next portion, I want to teach you something that may be new to you, but it's a language of which you could explain yourself and describe the round in a better way. So let me illustrate. A 10-9 round. The bell rings, the fighter comes out and lands some punches, so he's winning close. The same fighter keeps landing punches, now he's winning moderately. So now he's landing even more punches. Now he's gone into the decisive. He's winning decisively. In other words, he's really beating his opponent. The bell rings. So it's still 10-9, but you as an official tell me, did he win 10-9 close? Did he win 10-9 moderate? Or did he win 10-9 decisive? Let me go with this further. Here's the different variations you can have in the 10-9. Let's go back. Let's listen. Let's watch this flow chart. So the bell rings. The fighter comes out and he's winning close. So again, he's even landing more punches. So now he's in the moderate position. He's landing more punches and now he's winning in the decisive. He's really winning now and he hurts his opponent. And we call that extreme decisive. He hurt him, however, his opponent didn't go down. He hurt him. Extreme decisive. When you come to extreme decisive, you're thinking it's 10-8 without a knockdown. Again, when you're thinking extreme decisive in your mind, you have gone to 10-8. So what this is doing as a judge, you're watching the fight and you're thinking this fighter's winning 10-9, but it's still close. So he's winning 10-9 close. And then if he keeps winning, he's moved into that 10-9 moderate. And if he's moving further, he's moved to the decisive. I can't teach you judgment. This comes from your understanding of the rules and to be able to practice your ability and concentration. With all that we've said thus far, one of the greatest things you can use is common sense. But I want to tell you the recommended scores, of which is in conjunction with the Association of Boxing Commissions. We have 10-9 close to moderate. We have 10-8 extreme decisive without a knockdown. We have 10-8 with a knockdown, with one knockdown. Then you have 10-7 with 2 knockdowns. And then you would have 10-6 with more than 2 knockdowns. Keep in mind, this does not consider any fouls that might be involved. This would be you as a judge. We'd recommend that you not score less or any worse than 10-6. And then 10-10, where you just can't pick a winner. I want to talk to you a little bit about 10-10. There's 2 times you should use a 10-10 round. There's 2 times when you should use it. One is if you lose your total concentration, meaning you forgot in your mind at that moment who's winning the round. If you should forget, you don't want to guess, because you could guess wrong and it would hurt that fighter badly, because he would have to win 2 rounds to make up for your mistake. So you should use a 10-9 round if you should ever forget where you are. The second time you should use it is when it's a dead even round. You should go 10-10. It's very, very rare. In my career, I think I did just under 2,000 rounds of world title fights, and I think I had 2 even rounds. So again, you should use an even round if you forget where you are. And if you have enough even rounds, it's telling your commission that you can't concentrate. You should be able to pick the winner of the round.
Ask in a championship fight, in a 12th round, are there any like limits in how many rounds they can give 10-10 if it's really close?
You should never have one unless it's really unless it's even. You're paid to make a decision and to watch the fight fairly. Concentration is the biggest thing that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to work hard to concentrate. If you concentrate and look at every punch and apply the things that we showed you, I promise you, you won't have an even round, because you'll be able to pick the winner as to who's scoring the most punches. And if the punches are even, look for who the effective aggressor is. If that's even, look for who has the control of the round or ring generalship. If all 3 of those are even, you have an even round. Okay, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask me?
No questions. You explained everything very clearly.
Well, I don't know about that. There's some other things we could go into, but I think that we've gone far enough. I think you've done very well. I think that you've been outstanding.
Duane, I'd like to ask a question, if you don't mind.
Sure, Kevin.
If there's a 10-7 round on 2 knockdowns, should you consider before and after the knockdowns what happened over the 3 minutes? To the potential that it might be a 10-8 round instead of 10-7.
Kevin brings up a very, very good point, and it's something we teach in the more advanced class. When you are watching a round, things happen during the course of that round, and then by the end of the round, you have your final score. So with that, early in the round, there may be a knockdown. They get up and you have to watch what happens after the knockdown, because that may change that 10-8 to a 10-9. Just because you have a knockdown, that's not going to be your end score. You have to watch what happens after, because a fighter can get knocked down, come back up. He's at 10-8 when he gets back up, and he can really land some hard punches and hurt the other guy, and he'll move it to 10-9. In additional seminars, we go over that quite specifically. Just because the fighter is down, that's not your final score at the end of the round. Watch what happens after. Any other questions?
So the referee asked if there are 2 knockdowns already, wouldn't we have to stop the fight before it's go further, or?
No. In the unified rules, there is no 3 knockdown rule or 2 knockdown rule. It's the referee's judgment. He's the sole arbiter. However, you better tell them that. So after each knockdown, when the referee counts and the fighter gets up, and at the end of 8, the referee has him come to him. And he wipes his gloves. It's important that when the referee has him walk to him, the referee steps back so the referee can see how the fighter's walking. So it's totally the referee's discretion. If he doesn't think it's safe for the fighter to go on, he can stop the fight. But it's not because there's 2 knockdowns or 1 knockdown or 3. Any other questions?
No question.
I can tell you, you've done very well. You're going to do a great job in your fights.